What do you do in case you're married or in a long-term relationship and then you meet somebody that you're extremely attracted to, drawn to, or you develop a bond with? This is one of the toughest situations that I've had to deal with while doing coaching. So I've had people coming to me with this situation, and I want to talk about it as much as I can talk about it in a public space, not in a one-on-one coaching session. Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here, I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. So let's unravel a bit this situation. Two people enter a relationship. They care for one another, they're attracted to one another, they love one another. And then years down the line, one of the people in this relationship meets somebody else. Whether this other person is in a committed relationship as well or not is not the point. The point here is that there's an instant attraction pull towards that person, while in this relationship there is love, attraction, a partnership, a common lifestyle. So there are things that have been built there in years. So what do you do in that situation? Let's start from the beginning. The most common thing that you will see is that people resist it until the situation, the context, the circumstances push them to express that. Okay, they meet this person over and over. There's a certain context in which they encounter one another, and at a certain point they can't hold it anymore. So they do something, not intentional, not necessarily conscious, just pulled into that situation. And they usually cover it. Sometimes this magnetic pull is there for a longer period. So it becomes not necessarily a routine, but it's something repetitive. It's not just a one-time thing. And that's where it gets more complicated. Let's look at another possible scenario. The two people decide that they don't do anything about it, and they do their best to avoid each other, and they actually succeed at it. There's that lingering thought though, what if? And sometimes that lingering thought in the committed relationship can cast a really big shadow. Okay, the person is no longer all in, obviously, but they can't come back all in, even throughout time. This can also happen. In other situations, people, when they feel this pull, they decide to go for it. Okay, so they consciously make that jump. They don't expect the situation to pull them there. They take that step themselves. Some decide to do it once, others decide to do it repeatedly. Sometimes this can have no consequences other than the person's feeling that they're not all in their respective relationships, or the partners of those that have done this will feel that there's something wrong, and this causes a bit of tension in the relationship. But there's no scandal, there's no drama, there's no breakup, nothing. There's just a time where these people express what they express, and then they go back to their relationships. All this time, the partners, even if they don't know for sure, they will feel it. Never ever underestimate the power of a connection that was created in time. People know you, and they will feel it nonetheless. Even if they don't ask you, even if you don't say anything, they will feel it. This usually can have repercussions, meaning the other person that feels that this is going on, at a later time, if life presents them with this opportunity, they will do it too. Because they feel that they should also have the right to do it. Or they should also take the chance to live that if life presented that opportunity to them. Okay, so sometimes this also can be a consequence, and you as the person that were doing it initially will feel when the other person is doing it to you also. So you might get to experience that. It's not a pretty feeling nonetheless. Sometimes these things can get exposed And usually it ends up in ugly ways. Ugly words are said, people's hearts are wounded, people's trust is broken. Let me point you a very public case in this situation. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston, they were married for some years. And then Brad Pitt had to play a role with Angelina Jolie. And attraction was so high, Jennifer felt it, and she showed up on sets. So she did her part. She showed up, she was there. She cared, or she fought for her relationship. Brad, on the other hand, couldn't hold it, I guess, and went into that relationship until the other person, because sometimes this can also happen, could no longer stand the situation, and she arranged that the whole thing was exposed. So in that case, it was Angelina Jolie that arranged through journalists to have their fling exposed, which led to that painful divorce. They ended up in a relationship, married with children, adopted biological children also. And then some years down the line, again, this situation happens. So Brad Pitt was working with somebody else. He was tempted and he cheated again. So sometimes, because this behavior is reinforced, this is a situation, trust is broken, hearts are also wounded, more hearts than just one. In this case, it was Jennifer Aniston's, then it was Angelina Jolie's, and then it was also Brad Pitt, because he was also in a lot of pain. The divorce, his second divorce, was worse than his first one. Now, let's come back to coaching, because this is a coaching channel. So in those situations, I simply ask people, all right, first of all, what do you want to do here? If they say, I don't know, then I start to unpack. Okay, let's go down the path of you're in this relationship and you're going to continue with this relationship. How do you see yourself with it? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you satisfied? Is it okay for you as it is now? Probably some of these answers would not be yes, because if all those answers were yes, there wouldn't be an attraction towards somebody else. Okay? So I would definitely bring the uncomfortable question, what do you think this new person that stirred up so many things inside you, what do you think this means? What meaning do you give it? Okay, and how do you feel about this? So I would explore all possible angles, some of them not uncomfortable. And then I would do the ultimate awful thing and ask this question. Let's reverse the roles. Let's say that your beloved met somebody and they felt all these things for them. And they started questioning the relationship that they have with you. How do you feel about that? Boy, I know a lot of people hate this. It is tough to ask. It is. However, you want to take it into all possible angles. Another obnoxious angle, what if both of you at the same time met other people and both of you felt this attraction to them? What then? It's very rare that this happens. Like, it's extremely rare, but still, I would also go there. What do you feel that would be like? Even if it happens, let's say not at the same time, so there's a certain distance in time between when you meet the other person and your beloved meets the other person. How do you feel about that? Would you like that? Would you feel that this would be a good thing in your relationship? Like, I would torture them with all possible questions, because if you don't go through this nasty stuff in coaching, you're gonna go through it in life. Yeah. And depending on which answers I would get, because you get answers as a coach, figuratively speaking, you can smell. Your nose is good enough to smell the sensitive spots, and you would go to those sensitive spots. If you can't go there in a coaching session, you can't go there in life either. Or life might push you into that really uncomfortable place and you're unprepared for it. And that's where things get out of hand. That's where people's hearts get wounded. That's where people's families get torn apart. That's where people's trust gets annihilated sometimes, and so on. This is not an easy situation, and I know that we can never hold other people to the same standards that we hold ourselves, because we just don't know what their standards are. And correctly speaking, we should hold everybody to their own standards. So the first thing to do here is find out what the standard is for every person, and also to challenge it, because sometimes when life throws something so obnoxious in your face and tears you upside down or inside out, you get to actually question your standards also. I think that's a very healthy thing to do, because you had lived up to that point by a certain standard, and now a new situation came to your face, and maybe your old standards no longer apply. It can also happen. A lot of people don't do that. You can't do that on your own, obviously. You really can't. And a lot of people avoid having these discussions with their beloveds. And these are not easy discussions to have, in all honesty. Like, yeah, one of the things that I would open up in coaching sessions with the person that I would work with on such a situation would be, do you ever intend to let your beloved know about this? In any case, in the case you want to move on with the attraction, not just once, but more times. In case you don't want to move on, but still, do you want to let your beloved know? That's also a very valid question to ask yourself, and it's also a very valid discussion to have. Usually coaching sessions are the safest space where you can discuss all of these things. Obviously, if you're already in a complex or complicated situation for some time, it might be too late for coaching. You might actually need psychotherapy. Honestly, coaching is, in most cases, is best used in a preventive manner. When things have gotten so bad already, it's kind of too late for coaching. Yeah. So if you're in a situation like this one, because a lot of people can find themselves in it, first and foremost, I can understand the turmoil that you might be going through, because it's not easy. Okay, that entire charge that you carry inside of you, and you can't express it every single time, and you can't even disclose it. Awful thing to carry. So I know what you're going through. In that situation, you need a safe place to start at least talking to somebody about it and start bringing a bit more clarity into the situation, very importantly. If it's just like you just met the person and you can already feel that there's something going on, that is a good time also to start seeking help. And in those situations, yes, if it's just in the beginning, a coach can be of help to you, at least with getting clarity. Because please understand, one thing that you get in sessions is clarity, more or less, depending on you, how willing you are to discuss and face all possible situations and face your own emotions or your own thoughts. But walking down the line in this situation, in this circumstance, can become more and more challenging. Emotions can get very amped up, okay? Your erotic charge can amplify itself, and you're going to need an outlet somehow. So a lot of people, like, coaching has a very thin or a very small window of opportunity to help you. If you can seize it in time, that's the greatest. If not, you're going to have to start taking more significant measures. Otherwise, a lot of the times, the situation gets out of hand. That's how I've seen it. Even if you don't disclose it, even if your partner doesn't find out about it, they can still feel it. Never ever underestimate your partner. Just like I wouldn't tell you to underestimate yourself, that you wouldn't pick up if your partner was doing that to you. Okay? Never ever do that. So, I know this doesn't answer all your questions because I'm talking hypothetically here. I want to encourage you once more. either seek a coaching session with somebody or a psychotherapy session with somebody. And yeah, one thing is sure, you're gonna have to make a decision pretty soon. Otherwise, if you just allow the situation to continue, it will just grow, and you might not actually have the best solutions at hand. I'm gonna leave you with these thoughts. If you have any insights of your own, if you want to share anything, if you feel safe to do that, I'll look forward to your comments. If not, you can always seek coaching with me and really start working on the situation that you have at hand. Otherwise, I'll see you the next time with probably more intense topics.